now.
Other neurotropic virus. Yeah, as with other neurotropic viruses, the virus entry to the brain is through the olfactory bulb as the only part of the central nervous system not protected by the dura plausible rule for SARS-CoV-2, especially given the anosmia in COVID-19. The, the symptoms are similar to intracranial infections like headache, epilepsy, disturbed consciousness, sudden loss of smell or taste. The alternate other entry roads are across blood-brain barrier following viremia through infected leukocytes. The AC2 receptor, the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptor, to which the SARS-CoV-2 binds for entry into the cells bound in the brain vascular endothelium and smooth muscle. SARS-CoV-2 replicates in neuronal cells in vitro. The main clinical manifestations are fever, chills, dry cough, difficulty in breathing, and severe cases respiratory failure death may occur due to cytokine or body in storm. And the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome Co potentially is also a neuroinvasive. 25.7% of patients with the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome can develop insanity, and 8.6% of patients have seizures. The lungs is the main target of COVID-19 infections. They are multifocal, bilateral, peripheral. Early in the case of disease, the ground glass appearance may present as multifocal lesions, most commonly located in the inferior lobe of the brain. These are the X-rays of interstitial involvement of COVID-19 pneumonia, the right lung disease with diffuse reticular nodular thickening peribronchial vascular interstitium. And this is the diffuse ground glass opacity, mainly in the perihilar region and subpleural region. This is subpleural region, this perihilar regions. And this is a peripheral consolidation, subpleural consolidation and bilateral involvement. This is a subpleural consolidation, bilateral involvement feature of lung. This is a subpleural consolidation of COVID-19 lung. And this is a subpleural consolidation here. And this is the severe respiratory failure, immediately intubated at arrival emergency. This is producing the multiple diffuse opacities in the lung. And this is the diffuse opacities in the lung. And also this is diffuse opacities in the lung. And diffuse involvement in elderly patients, advanced lung diffuse consolidation, all patients older than 80 years older, and this is diffuse involvement of the right lung in COVID-19. This is diffuse involvement of the right lung, and this is some pleural effusion, subpleural consolidation, pleural effusion. This is subpleural consolidation in bilaterally, and this is the subpleural consolidations bilaterally. And this is a X-ray, a 7 years old female cell, 7 years old, extensive bilateral peripheral consolidation with air thrombograms here. And this is the 56 years old male, present with high grade fever, sore throat, and cough for 2 days. Bilateral mid and lower zones, homogeneous consolidation in peripheral distribution. And the autopsy material from the patient who developed encephalopathy weeks after presenting the SARS-CoV to shows edema, neuronal necrosis, and broad gliocyte hyperplasia. Elevated expressions of cytokine, monocyte induced gamma interferon, and with infiltration of monocytes and macrophages plus T cells. These findings are consistent with the virus CNS entry, triggering the inflammation, infiltration of immune cells, and release of cytokine and chemokines, which contribute to tissue damage. And the cerebrovascular disease in COVID-19 might be due to coagulopathy. The SARS-CoV-2 virus can cause damage to endothelial cells, activating inflammatory and thrombotic pathways. The endothelial cell infection on monocytes activates upregulation of tissue factors and release of microparticles, which activate the thrombotic pathway and cause microangiopathy. And monocyte activation is postulated to constitute part of secondary hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis described in severe COVID-19. The thrombocytopenia with elevated D dimer and C-reactive protein in severe COVID-19 and stroke are consistent with virus associated with microangiopathy process. The acute ischemic stroke might also occur through early inflammatory process following acute infection, de-establishing the carotid clog or triggering atrial fibrillation. A vasculitis process similar to that for varicella zoster virus, in which viral replication in the cerebral arterial wall triggers local inflammation. Endothelial infection by SARS-CoV-2, inflammation and apoptosis of endothelial cells in kidney, heart, bowel, and lung at autopsy findings. The low molecular heparin, immediate anticoagulation with low molecular heparin has been recommended for patients of COVID-19 to reduce the risk of thrombotic disease. This approach might also reduce COVID-19 associated ischemic stroke, but is balanced against the risk of intracranial hemorrhage, including hemorrhagic transformation of acute infarct. The structure of this is, the structure of SARS-CoV-2 is a beta coronavirus family and exists in the form of RNA. It has nearly 30,000 nucleotides. Cas base pairs that hold the genetic code for viral protection. The number is 3 times compared to HIV and hepatitis C and twice that of influenza. The virus has an average diameter of 100 nanometer and spherical or oval. The virus has large spikes of viral membrane glycoproteins on the surface. 96% similar to COVID-19 found in the rare human secondary according to genome sequencing. Basically, SARS-CoV-2 was transmitted from bats in China. This is the phases of pathogenesis. The pathogenesis of COVID-19 have 3 phases. Early infectious phase, inflammatory responses localized to the mucosa of upper respiratory tract. During this phase, the patient is infected and transmits the disease to others. So this is the early infective phase, is the disease transmission. The next is the pulmonary phase. Virus proliferates and invades the lungs. There are lung damage, hypoxemia, and cardiovascular dysfunction. In last, inflammatory response, there is cytokine storm. In the late phase, multiple body organs, including nervous system, are likely to be affected. So the nervous system is likely to be affected in the late inflammatory response phase. The SARS-CoV-2 virus utilizes angiotensin converting enzyme 2 receptor for entry into the host cell. A unique furin-like cleavage site on the spike protein plays a crucial role in viral entry. Earlier versions of the SARS-CoV-2 virus do not possess such a furin-like cleavage site. Transmembrane protein serine 2 enzyme is needed to activate the spike protein. This is the transmembrane protein serine needed to activate the spike protein. A serine protease inhibitor blocks this viral entry into the host cell. This phenomenon can be exploited for development of treatment of COVID-19 future. So the main treatment of COVID-19 is the blockage of serine protease inhibitor, the serine transmembrane TMPRSS2 transmembrane protease serine 2 is the enzyme necessary for this activation of the spike protein. If you block this enzyme, this activation does not occur and COVID-19 involvement can be prevented. So serine protease inhibitor blocks this viral entry into the cell and in developing the treatment for COVID-19. The serine protease inhibitors available are protease, nexin, antithrombin 3 coenzyme, phosphodiesthylamine binding protein, plasminogen activator 1, neurorepsin, PN1, serine protease inhibitor 3, immunoglobulin 1, alpha 2 antitrypsin. These are the serine protease inhibitor. The comorbidities, the diabetes, hypertension engages angiotensin 2 receptor expression in brain and the neurotropism for SARS-CoV-2 virus. So what are the comorbidities? The comorbidities, diabetes, hypertension, this engages the ACE2 expression in the brain, for which the neurotropism of SARS-CoV-2 virus occurs. Competitive blockage of this angiotensin 2 by SARS-CoV-2 virus downregulate the angiotensin converting enzyme 2 expression, leading to uncontrolled blood pressure and enhanced possibility of cerebrovascular accidents. And the cytokine storm. The cytokines are crucial mediators of inflammation in COVID-19. Severe COVID-19 is characterized by markedly by elevated levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines, lymphopenia, and increased number of neutrophils. This kind of cytokine profile is termed as cytokine storm. Interleukin 6 is the key element of this cytokine storm. The pro-inflammatory cytokines, as the yesterday conference I told, the interleukin 1 beta, interleukin 2, interleukin 8, interleukin 17, chemokine Ligon 3, granulocyte colony stimulating factor, granulocyte macrophage colony stimulating factor, human interferon inducible protein, human necrostruct alpha. The cytokine storm is associated with enhanced vascular permeability, coagulopaths, and muscle system involvement. The multi-organ dysfunction usually occurs in 5% of patients with COVID-19, produce acute respiratory distress syndrome, septic shock, multi-organ dysfunction. The hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis is a rare hyperinflammatory condition characterized by severe hypercytokalemia with multi-organ failure. The cytokine profile of severe COVID-19 hemophagocytic syndrome are highly similar. It's autoimmunity. Post-infectious autoimmune reaction can affect the neuronal cells. SARS-CoV-2 virus epitopes bear a structural resemblance to several human proteins. Molecular mimicry between virus epitope and myelin-based protein results in autoimmune post-infectious demyelinating syndromes. Dysregulation of angiotensin II receptor contribute to the pathogenesis of experimental autoimmune encephalomyelitis. Spike surface glycoprotein plays a crucial role in immunopathology. The incubation period of COVID-19 ranges from 4 to 14 days. The average time to hospitalization after first symptoms on an average 7 days. Fever is the most frequent symptom. Fatigue, dry cough, anorexia, myalgia, dyspnea, and expectoration are all other symptoms, initial symptoms. The severity is COVID-19 mild, severe, and critical categories. Mild cases, patient has no pneumonia or mild pneumonia. Severe cases, severe dyspnea, respiratory rate more than 30, hypoxemia nearing the intensive care unit. At this stage, bilateral pulmonary infiltrates are seen as chest image. Critical patients, respiratory failure, mechanical ventilation, septic shock, or multi-organ dysfunction. The common laboratory findings is lymphopenia. Lymphopenia, mostly the lymphocyte count reduced, increased neutrophil count. Eosinopenia, also along with prolonged prothrombin time. Prothrombin time is prolonged, raised aldehydes, raised alanine aminotransferase, raised aspartate aminotransferase. So this is very, very important laboratory findings. Lymphopenia, increased neutrophil, eosinopenia, and raised aldehydes, alanine aminotransferase, etc. High troponin level, marked elevated D-dimer C-reactive protein, increased ferritin level is an indicator of immunocytokine storm. So if the ferritin level is most important, immunocytokine storm, especially the imminent acute respiratory distress syndrome, the increased ferritin level is an indicator of severe immunocytokine storm. RT-PCR is the gold standard diagnostic procedure for confirming SARS-CoV-2 virus infection. RT-PCR test is done on nasopharyngeal swabs. RT-PCR has a specificity is to close to 100%, but the sensitivity is inadequate at 79%. If the results are negative, RT-PCR need to be repeated after 3 days. Recently, IgG, IgM, antibody tests to detect antibodies against SARS-CoV-2 infection in human blood, serum, plasma have been made available. These tests are valuable as they can be used for screening purpose in a large population. The SARS-CoV-2 virus, this is the virus structure, this is the glycoproteasome, this is the inner RNA genome, and this is the envelope, this is spike proteins. These spike proteins are vulnerable to the attachment to the host cells via ACE2 receptor. Now, the mechanism of coronavirus infection and neurological damage caused by coronavirus. The coronavirus can cause nerve damage through direct infection pathways through olfactory nerves, blood circulation pathways, and neuronal pathways, hypoxia, immune injury, ACE2, and other mechanisms. So, this is mainly through olfactory nerve and neuronal pathways. This is showing. Now, this is the pathogenic nervous system injury caused by coronavirus. SARS-CoV systemic inflammatory response syndrome. This inflammatory response affects this hypoxic mediated direct involvement of olfactory nerve and other hormone pathway and etc. These are the pathways resulting in infections with encephalopathy, viral encephalitis, acute cerebrovascular. This results in encephalopathy, viral encephalitis, and acute cerebrovascular accident. These multi-entry mechanisms. This is general virus entry. It will enter into the cell, multiplicate with some cells, and producing a massive damage here. This spike protein priming. This is how the spike protein priming occurs between cells. And at the microscopic level, SARS-CoV-2 engage ACE2 and entry receptor and employs the host cell. transmembrane serine protease 2 or furin for spike protein binding. Priming of the spike protein occurs by cleavaging of the spike protein by the host cell, expressing the fusion of peptide, viral and membrane and the door, and once fusion occurs, the virus can enter into the cell. How this virus priming occurs and entry into the cell is demonstrated in this slide. And this virus replication is inside the host cell, foreign viral RNA hijacks the host cell machinery, inducing it is produced the RNA and proteins that produce new viral particles. These viral particles will then exit the cell to infect the new cells. This is a virus protein, this exits the cell and infects other new cells. Now, this is the hyper intensity along the wall of the inferior horn of the right lateral ventricle or diffusion weighted imaging ventriculitis. This is showing a diffusion weighted imaging of MRI DWI, reducing the ventriculitis here, inferior horn of the right lateral ventricle. This is the hyper intensity area. This is hypertensive signal changes in the right mesenteric temporal lobe and hippocampus with a slight hippocampus atrophy on FLAIR MRI consistent with encephalitis. This is a FLAIR MRI consistent with encephalitis. It's hypertensive signal seen here. Now, the hypersensitivity with the bilateral medial temporal lobe and thalamus on T2 FLAIR MRI. This is T2 FLAIR MRI. The hemorrhage is indicated by the hypointense signal on susceptibility images consistent with acute necrotizing encephalopathy. This is the hemorrhage type of acute necrotizing encephalopathy. Now, this is a man aged 64 years who deteriorated neurologically with COVID-19 and was diagnosed with acute stroke. The CT is showing the ischemic lesion involving the left occipital lobe. This is the ischemic lesion involving the left occipital lobe. The ischemic lesion in the right frontal precentral gyrus of the same patient. Now, 54-year-old man with a pathological wakefulness after sedation, brain MRI in severe COVID-19. This is a new non-confluent multifocal white matter hyperintense lesions on FLAIR and diffusion with variable engagement. This is the non-confluent multifocal white matter hyperintense lesion on FLAIR image, and this is on diffusion with variable enhancement. Now, this apparent diffusion ADC map, the lesion present in the center with an elevation ADC corresponding to the vasogenic edema, and peripheral ring reduced ADC corresponding to cytotoxic edema. So, the difference between vasogenic edema and cytotoxic edema. In vasogenic edema, the center shows elevated ADC, apparent diffusion coefficient, and in cytotoxic edema, the peripheral range, this is a reduced ADC, apparent diffusion coefficient. After contrast administration, small areas of very mild engagement are detected. An axial post-contrast FLAIR. This is post-contrast T1 weighted MRI image. Shows the very mild engagement are detected. This is Guillain-Barré syndrome. The Guillain-Barré syndrome is frequently encountered in neurological complication of COVID-19, and Shaw can describe the first patient with Guillain-Barré syndrome in a patient COVID-19. After this, 18 more patients with Guillain-Barré syndrome has been described. All patients present with the classical manifestations of acute symmetric plastic areflexive quadriplegia. The point for Guillain-Barré, acute symmetric plastic areflexive quadriplegia. CSF examination in the majority revealed albumin cytological dissociation. Treatment with intravenous immunoglobulins led to complete or partial recovery in this patient. Few patients needed ventilator support. So, the Guillain-Barré syndrome, acute symmetric plastic areflexive quadriplegia, immunoglobulin maybe enhances the recovery of these patients, and some patients may need ventilator support. So, CSF in such cases reveal albumin cytologic dissociation. The Miller-Fisher syndrome is a variant of Guillain-Barré syndrome characterized by ophthalmoplegia, ataxia, areflexia, ophthalmoplegia. Miller-Fisher syndrome has also been described in patients with COVID-19. Albumin cytologic CSF and positive GD1B Ig antibodies indicate an inflammatory pathology. So, Ig antibodies shows inflammatory pathology in this case. The post-infectious immune-mediated mechanism was the mutative mechanism proposed for the pathogenesis of COVID-19 associated with Guillain-Barré syndrome. The post-infectious immune-mediated mechanisms is most important for the pathogenesis of this Guillain-Barré, and Miller-Fisher. For patients with neuroimaging abnormality, CSF protein level where CSF protein elevated. The SARS-CoV-2 virus in CSF usually not demonstrated but detected in one patient. So whether the SARS-CoV-2 in CSF is isolated, they isolated SARS-CoV-2 from CSF in one patient. Majority of patients, it is not detected in the CSF analysis. This China, it is celebrates the success of virus fight. They producing the presidents, they say we are leading the world in economical recovery and fight against COVID-19. The president says of China says they're successful in celebrating the virus fight. And now this is the St. Thomas Hospital, London, visiting here. And this is the Royal Society, London. And this is the People Hospital, China. And you are this Tokyo University in China. This is another view of China and the students here. And this is the Cherry Blossom Festival of Shanghai, China. Why I am including China, they are the virus of origin in China, and they actually successfully treated and eradicated the SARS-CoV-2 from China. So China is creditable for the celebration and Cherry Blossom Festival, Shanghai, China here. And the questions on this paper, if you contact directly or by email, audio@yahoo.co.uk. And this is greeting from Morning Star Hospital. And this is a Morning Star, very small clinic in Marthandam, Kanyakumari district, Kulithare area, Blagamode assembly limits. And these all religions must be converted into rescue, mediation, meditation, helping centers for those people who are unable to emergency, irrespective of their nationality, either for money, food, or shelters, in a receptive manner of affectionately. So, in addition to the scientific aspects, the personal aspects of the people must be dealt. But the no government is dealing such a personal help like that. So, our religious centers must be converted as a rescue, mediation, meditation, and helping centers for those people who are coming for emergency need, irrespective of their nationality, either for money, food, or shelters, in receptive manner affectionately. And thereby there needs to be solved appropriately, since the ruling authorities and concerned officials are very much difficult to approach to them, and they are found to be incapable for such timely help on the suffering. So, medical help, we are also need to attend the sufferings of the people also especially through the religious centers, may be appropriate for to correct them and help them. A request to all, I am requesting the presidents of all nations to make some funds to the world scientific sessions at their nations and to share the travel and stay expenditure of the invited speakers with free visa or visa on arrival or free registration, since these sessions are the backbone of the exchange ideas for the future developments by the eminent persons across the world. I am suffering a lot to attend these sessions as invited speaker from India, since my states and nation are totally ignoring me on this regard, even though requested many times to the governor, chief minister, prime minister, and even not permitted to webinars from district collectorate, Kanyakumari, the state of Tamil Nadu, also get ignored in Kerala state, and now Kerala state is becoming assaulting and becoming the killing state for me at present. So worrying very much. Special message to the Brain Disorders Committee for giving my chance to even this lecture at this venue. Thank you very much.